敬礼辽宁和尚、三家正空上师、16世大巴华王卡玛巴、图登大提上师，敬礼坛城三宝，敬礼同修本尊真巴拉。师母、各位上师、教授师、法师、讲师、助教、堂主、各位同门、网络上的同门，今天我们的贵宾是行政院北美事务所协调委员会秘书长廖东洲大使夫人鸠第世姐。中委会法律顾问周慧芳
Attorney to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Jennifer Zhou and her son.
中委会会计师特丽莎师姐。
Accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa.
海外信用保证基金会
The wife of the head director of the Overseas Credit Warranty Fund of the Republic of China, Miss Vivian Shit. How are you? How do you do? Everyone, good evening. How do you do? Just now, we heard Grandmaster Simu's speech, and also from Master De Hui, the abbot of Seattle Temple. And I have this feeling about Master De Hui's speech that this year in November, someone already made a dinner arrangement in Taiwan. They're already scheduled as for the first meal. So they started to schedule dinner party 6 months later. That's in response to Master De Hui. And to Simu, at every ceremony in Taiwan Lichang Temple, there are tens of thousands of people. And for the last ceremony, there were 30,000 people. And for that last evening, I had to spend almost 2 hours to give blessings on the heads. That was truly very long. And here, it would be like a meteor, like a shooting star. It ends as soon as it starts. Of course, when So when I'm in Seattle, I miss Taiwan, and in Taiwan, I miss Seattle. And the moon is not always round. Even the moon is flex and waning. So for human being too, we also have separation. So that's why when we're together, we should treasure it. Simu talked about her high stress, and she really suffered. So that's why sometimes we should give her a break. She's already 66. It's about time to rest. Most employees would retire at that time, and Grandmaster is 70 and never have a break and never take a break. In Taiwan, I never take a break, and in Seattle, I never take a break. There was a single lady from Vancouver, and this time she kept saying that, Grandmaster, you should show your muscles. And she's there. So I said that at 70-years old, I only show once and for all. On May 16, there were 1,400 people that saw my bare chest. And lots of people took pictures. Master Lien Tian, Master Hui Jun, and many other people. And no one is allowed to post it on the internet. If you do so, then you breach the precepts. We cannot show it outside the school. But inside the school, it's okay to see. So, Master Reverend Lien Ya took pictures and stayed it inside his cell phone, and Master Lien Jie also inside her cell phone. So if you want to see, you can see it on the cell phones. It was public. There were 1,400 people attending, and some people took picture, but no one should post it on the internet. So you could see it and check with them. One time in Taiwan, someone showed the cell phone, and they said, "Oh, that's composed." Like they placed Grandmaster's head on the muscle man. But if you see it real time, please raise your hand. I saw it myself. So that is not composed, it's not made up. So what I meant is, if you persist and persevere in training your body, you would have such a body shape. As long as you're serious and diligent in your tantric practices every single day. Today, Master Lien Zi asked, do you need to train every single day to have such a body shape? Yes, it has to be every single day. Any trainings of the body has to be done every single day. If you don't believe it, try it. If you stop for a week or 10 days, then it would diminish. It would soften right away. You need to train every single day. And it is the same in your tantric practices. You need to practice every single day. Whether you're on an airplane or public bus or when I travel, all the same. On the plane, on the public transportation, on the high-speed train, I would do my practice, my tantric practice. I never stop any day. So this is about the will, a willpower. If you want to have attainments in your spiritual cultivation without daily practice, then that's nonsense. That's nonsense. That's a lie. If you can have attainment without daily practice. So what I mean by showing my body is to tell you that if you train every single day, then you would succeed. And it is the same with tantric practice. So Grandmaster would like to tell you that in Tantrayana, for the inner practices, you start with the non-leaking practice for the short practice. Then you would have attainment. After you are non-leaking, you do the practice of the inner fire. And you have attainment in the inner fire. After you have attainment in inner fire, you would have attainment in the light drop practice. Then you practice Qi to open the channels, and you do inner fire and light drop practices. At the end, you would emit light. Your body would emit light. And then with the light of the universe, there would be the merging of the mother light and the child light. Then you have attainment in the tantric practices. And you have to train and practice every single day. So you need to have attainments in non-leaking, opening the channels in the Qi practice. In inner fire, you need to have attainment. In the light drop practice, you need to have attainments in each of this. And in the emission of the light. And only when you have attainments in all of this, then you could be said to have attainment in tantric practices. And in the great perfection Dharma, at the end, you would have the emission of the lights, that all your skin pores would emit light all over your body, like Guru Padmasambhava, that the body would be transformed to become rainbow light. And you have to rely on the willpower and perseverance. You cannot say that, well, I just relied the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for their blessings and I would have attainments. No. That every day you would be mindful of your yidam. You need to make offerings to your yidam. You need to do the practice of the yidam. And every day you need to be mindful from the mudra, recite his or her mantra until one day he appears before you, and then you gain spiritual response with him or her, with the yidam. And then you started with the development stages, and then you do the inner practices for the great completion practices. That would be standard. So I like to apologize that the youth doesn't stay. So at 70, I want to bear myself to show to all of you. So could you show it right there on the monitor? Is it possible? It cannot be done? Can it be done? Then it would be on the internet. Oh no. Because if it's on the internet, everyone would see. Because now we have webcast. So if you want to see, you can go find Reverend Lian Ya or Master Lian Jie. If you want to see, go ahead. It's fine by me. I'm 70 years old. You can call me an old man now. At the Taiwan news media, they would call the elderly 70-year-old man So actually, the 60-year-old man is called an elderly now. They sometimes even call the 50-year-old elderly. So at 70, I'm considered an old man now.
那么今天是修这个真巴拉哈本尊。
So today we practice Jambala as the main deity.
一切是护佑这个
And
财。
Jambala
那么我
did
们有
bestow wealth.
这样子的。
There is this saying,
山倒，靠人啊
you rely on a mountain and the mountain fell. You rely on a human being and the human being ran.
不倒。
And if you rely on the money, then
那么
you
修行
stay
呢
up.
这个在显教来讲，
And in spiritual cultivation, in Mahayana Buddhism, they don't talk about
只
money
要心灵
and they don't care about the body.
就可以。
They just practice their mind.
因为密法
But in
本身
Tantrayana
所有
Buddhism,
东西都是用金的，用银的。
everything that we use in our practice are made of gold, silver, like all the deities,
不是镀金的
statues,
是真的金哦。
sparkling, and some of them
都是
are
真实的供养
gold-plated, but some of them are true gold. And say for the fire offering, you use a true offering, real offerings.
也是要佛法要弘扬，也是要金钱。
So to spread Buddha Dharma or Tantric
要弘扬，也就是要
Buddha Dharma, we need to have money.
啊，他自己有
But actually, Buddhism
有很大的
also needs some money. Say, like the Chiji, they have a broadcast station, hospitals, universities, and lots of things.
钱很多啊，实际
So they have lots of money. Chiji
我去
had
看了坛子的
collected lots of money. When I visited the hospital at Tanzi in Taiwan,
慈济医院一进去，
as soon as I got in,
那个客厅，大
how spacious
很宽阔的大广
the reception room is.
那么大，
It's just like a huge field. It's really huge. As soon as I saw that, I thought, oh no, True Buddha School is dead.
慈济坛子的台中坛子的慈济医院，一间大医院看起来就像雄伟的这个。那个
Only one hospital in Tanzi. It was
那么雄
really
伟
majestic, like Potala Palace.
那需要
That's
单单
the
那一家
Tzu-Chi
医院
Hospital.
要多少钱？
Just that one hospital. Can you imagine how much it is?
世界
And they have it all over Taiwan and all over the world.
洛杉矶的西来寺，
If you go to the Silai Temple in Los Angeles, that belongs to the Foguang Mountain, you know how huge it is? And the Foguang Sun in Taiwan, do you know how big it is? If you have been there, you would know that True Buddha School is dead. So they are of the Mahayana Buddhism.
看它建筑物，整个山都是堆满了钱。
So not just the buildings, the whole mountains, it's filled with money. And look at the Zhongtai mountain.
哦，看了，
Master Lin Yin visited.
雄伟。
It's really majestic.
其实那是钱，
It's
那个就是
huge.
钱。
And that's
华
money.
虎山一样，
Or the Huagu
显教都是钱。
mountain,
完了，今天
the Flower Drum mountain, they're all money, money. And it turned out that we are the poorest. So we all should do our best.
然后我们有财神法，
So we have a wealth deity practice. And Grandmaster wished that every one of us would become huge entrepreneurs, businessmen, and huge benefactors and philanthropists, and lastly, the great spiritual cultivators. So the 4 Buddhist groups of Taiwan, from the service, they look very prosperous and majestic, not like Seattle Lechang Temple. Well, actually, we are not so bad. Each and every deity here, they're all quite chubby. They're all quite majestic. I wish that all the wealth deities, the manifestations of the 4 heavenly kings, the red Jambala, yellow Jambala, green Jambala, black Jambala, white Jambala, all the wealth deities help True Buddha School so that in the future our development would be brilliant and the Buddha Dharma is widely spread and continually flow throughout all time. We pray to the wealth deities to help. I've been to Hualien, Taiwan, and in Japanese it is called Kalenko. When I was in Hualien, on that street, there are temples from the Fo Guang and Fo Guang San, and also temples from Hua Ku San, temples from Zhong Tai, from the 4 major Buddhist groups, and then to the Tzu Chi Hospital and the Ching Se. And then I got to our chapter there, the Hualien practice center, and oh no, so it's about half of that our Buddhist shop. So they're like, oh heavens, and we're like a bathroom. So really, when I visited the Tzu Chi Hospital, I took a leak, and the bathroom is about as big as our spiritual center. Amitabha. So it is incomparable. So we should be more serious in our spiritual cultivation, because our Dharma practices are the greatest. Our Dharma practices are the greatest. Sakyamuni Buddha once said, what is great? So those who are in union with the Tao is called great. Our tantric Dharma practices are completely in union with the Tao, with the Buddha. That's why our Dharma is the greatest. The rest is incomparable. The worldly things cannot be compared, but our Dharma is beyond compare. Actually, in the Great Perfection Dharma, the so-called Great Perfection is great. So the great perfection Dharma was transmitted by the Adi Buddha, by the primordial Buddha. So the great perfection Dharma has many lineage gurus that now transmitted to the Vajrapani, and then transmitted to the heavens, and then to the Prahevajra in the human world, and then to Manjusri Nidra, and then to Sri Singha, and then to Padmasambhava, and then to Ishichoka, and King Trishong Dzogchen, and then continually transmit. So Manjusri Bodhisattva also comprehend the great perfection Dharma, and Manjusri Bodhisattva is considered with the greatest wisdom in the great vehicle. So Manjusri Bodhisattva took it to the cool breeze mountain, which is the Wutai Mount of China. So that becomes the Zen. The Zen Buddhism in China is considered great perfection Dharma. And then that state in Tibet is called great perfection Dharma or Dzogchen. And in China it is called Zen Buddhism. The most important sutra is called the Leng-Jia Sutra. Lak. 念解经。
因为我是文字虽然懂很多，但是我是有边读边啊。
So although I recognize a lot of the Chinese characters, but my pronunciation may not be accurate.
禅宗到了六祖的时候，因为六祖
So
不是很多，但是他懂经。
To the sixth patriarch, because he was not well educated, that's why he used the Diamond Sutra to seal the mind. So after the sixth patriarch, they used the Diamond Sutra, but prior to the sixth patriarch, they used this Lankampara Sutra. So this is very important. So there's the Asanga for the consciousness only, and Vasubandhu for the Madhyamaka. So in India, they use the consciousness only or Yogacara and Madhyamaka. So most of Buddhism in India and Nepal and China is this too. So self being empty and others being empty. What it means is yourself is empty, because if you are empty, then the whole universe is empty, and others empty. Surangama Sutra. That the external everything is empty, only self is real. The rest is empty, only self is non-empty. Self is real. So the mind as the basic. So you use the mind. So when you have good thoughts in the mind,
重要，佛陀所讲的很重要的记，也就是唯心，唯心的意思。
This is for the consciousness only.
我们最主要还是在重
So
视这个
the
心。
basic is
那么
the Dharma of the mind,
尊重你自己
and
本
most
身的
importantly
心
is about the mind.
你一切
So
言
you
行
need to
都
respect
靠
your own
心来
mind,
使用
and all your speech
言
and
跟
actions
行都跟心有关
rely on the
你
mind,
心中有了善念，
and everything is related to the mind. So if you have good thoughts in your mind, that would
虽
be
然不
Buddha
尽
Dharma.
第一义啊，但是你
Although this is
无论
not the
跟
ultimate
快乐
truth,
都会跟随着你自
but
己的心。
your merits and happiness would follow your mind, like a shadow following a human being.
释迦牟尼佛讲，其实也是
So
大
this was spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha, and this is also the great
很
perfection
久没有
Dharma.
跟大家讲笑话了啊！
It's been a long time since I shared jokes with you.
拿起来就看到这个，有一匹小马要过河，这个老水
There
牛
is
看到
a
了对他
colt
别怕，
that's about to cross the river, and the buffalo
知道我
told
的
him,
膝盖
"Don't worry, the water is shallow,
松鼠
just
立刻
up
跑
to
来
my
过来
knee."
喊不要相信他。
And the
是
squirrel,
人生
the
我
squirrel
的朋友就是
cried out, "Don't believe him. The water is deep. My friend was drowning in the water." So the colt
旁
was
的马妈
confused
妈告诉他
whether who should listen to.
个神经病
And his mother told him, "Just forget about those two mad beings. Let's just get on the bridge."
我们是走在桥上，
So I like to tell you that we are
不要去
walking
理什么
on the
自
bridge.
空见，
We are crossing the bridge.
你
So
不用
don't worry about self being empty or others being empty, because we are crossing on
那
the
么太
bridge.
偏空，
If
他
self
空见
is empty,
太
that's
偏自己。
too much nihilism. But if you are others being empty, then you are to
就是我们
focus
把
on
自
self.
空见他
But
空
we are crossing the bridge. So we combine the self being empty and others being
这个是
empty.
最重要的。自心见，你从你的心
So
看到佛性，
you
这
see
是我们
from your own mind. So you see the Buddha nature from your own
不
mind.
会淹死。
That is crossing the bridge. You will not drown.
这个医生呢，在墙上画了一个窗户，
The doctor
谁
drew a
能从这
window
个
on the
窗
wall
子爬出去，我就放
and
他出去。
said,
精神科医生呢，
"It's a
他
psychiatrist.
在这个墙
If
上
you
画了一个
can
窗子，说谁能从这个
climb out from this window, I would let you go."
精神病人们争先
And the
恐后
mental patients
有一个病人不动，
rushed and
医
fought
生认为说这个病人大概
to get out
精
first.
神好。
And there was only a patient that
医生
stayed
就
calm.
问他，你为什么
And
不
the
过去
doctor thought, "Oh, this patient must have been cured. Why didn't you go?"
因为这里是6楼。
And he said, "Oh, but I'm scared because this is the 6th floor."
原来精神病人还是精神病人。
It turned out that he is still mentally
告诉我佛法就是
disturbed.
这个样子。千万不要跟着精神病患走，
So please don't follow the mentally disturbed person.
千万不能跟着精神病患走。
Please, please don't.
每一个人都稍微有一点精神的这个心理上，精神上
Everyone has some mental disturbances or
多少有一点，
mental imperfection, more or less.
只是没有超过
But if you don't cross the line,
那么你必须要啊，你把自己的精
you're
神
fine.
这个
But you
注
need
重在
to focus
修行上
your
面，
mind
在人间呢，大部分都有
on spiritual cultivation.
人，大部分都有
Because being
在
born
人间
as a
有
human
病的种
being,
跟病的轻
you
跟病的
have
很少。
ailments. Some suffer more, some
你如
less.
果学习佛法，你要学习
If you study Buddhism, you
学
study
习
perfection.
那个呢，才不会
You would be perfected.
才不会走错路。
Then you
走
would
错
not
路的人相当
walk
多
the wrong path. But there are
你
many
学
who have walked on the wrong path.
任何一种事情都让人家精神发跑，有很多事情
There are many people that would make you mad,
会让人精神发跑。
that would
恋爱
make
也
you
会
go crazy.
也会让人
Even studying or
你做事业也会
uh,
压力大，也会
dating
也会让
or
人
working or being stressed out
结婚也会
would make you crazy.
这个
Or being
10个家
married.
庭9个艳偶。
Out of 10 families, 9 are karmic debtors.
不用讲了，事业、婚姻
So work,
超凡
family, marriage, children.
超凡儿女完了，还超凡孙子。
If you're worried about your children, could
所以
make
最
you
重要
mad,
的
or about your grandchildren.
能够一心
So
不
most
乱
importantly, you want to focus your
不受
mind
外面环
to
境
be
影
in
响，
concentration,
就是禅
to be unaffected by external circumstances, and that would be called Zen. If you're in full concentration,
不受
then that would
外
be
面
Ting
环
or
境
meditation.
还有
You
要
need to
学习
learn to be
这个
totally
大圆满
unaffected by external circumstances, and also to learn full concentration. And that's the basic
有一个青年
practices in Great Perfection
看见了
Dharma.
禅师大师啊，
A young man met the Zen master and said,
单身，
I'm over 30s and I'm still
怎
single.
么能够才能够
So,
找到我的
Master,
婚姻呢？
Could you tell me how to find my
你是有病
spouse?
吧？
And the
我要知道
master
怎么能
rubbed
够
his
找到
head
婚
and
姻还
said,
当和尚干什么？
Are you sick? If I know how to be married, then why do I want to be a monk?
所以啊，大家不要问我婚姻，
So please don't ask me about marriages.
这个人生的事情很难讲的，问道已茫啊，
It's hard to say about human
找到
lives.
一个真实的学习佛法，
If you find someone
密教的
real
大圆
to
满法，
study
我在
Buddhism,
这个
that's
前面
about
写密中
the
最
Great
殊胜
Perfection
在于
Dharma.
有法可以遵循，
Tantrayana
看得到，摸
is
得
very
到，
precious because there are Dharma practices that can be seen and touched and can be for the
尊
worldly
大圆满
or
是叫你
enlightenment and can attain Buddhahood.
佛法里面
And teaching the Great Perfection Dharma is to teach you to enter into the empty realm and to find the treasure.
积着书收法，是为度众生而粉身碎骨，在所不惜。详细
So this is all for the salvation of sentient beings. So think about it. Is there a great perfection in this world?
最好的依顾。
The best reliance is to attain
皈依生
Buddhahood.
活中如法
And
修
taking refuge
想要
into
获
Buddha's
得
school
意想不到的
and
利益
practice accordingly, you would attain the unthinkable benefits and
我这本大
perfection.
愿把它写在上面。
This is what's written on my book, The Great Perfection
很
Dharma.
多的灾难，人间有很多的灾难。
There are lots of disasters on earth.
那么文奈
Someone
跟
has a
唐僧
tattoo
在他的胸
on his body of the monk Tang Sen.
结果第一天他就丢掉了钱，
And one day he lost
他
money,
又被车子撞
some money, And on the second day, he was hit by a
他
car.
的这个公司啊，就把他
And on the third day, he was fired.
他去见一个高僧，高僧跟他讲，
And
你
he
闻什
met
么都不，
a high
你
adept.
闻什么都可以，你为什么要闻唐三藏？
You could have tattooed anything else except the monk, 唐僧. Because he has 81 disasters. And now you only experience 3. Now you have many more to come.
邪火有没有这个气？有这个歪的路？有没有歪？
So in our Buddhist study, are there deviant or the wrong paths? Yes, they exist.
师尊的话，
But remember Grandmaster's words.
如何不受
You
外
need
界
to know not to be affected by the external circumstances.
如何可以
You
让
need
你的
to
心能够安定下
know
来？
how to have the peace of mind, to be in full concentration, so that you have no
就算有
afflictions
很多的灾
whatsoever.
难，
Even when there are lots of disasters,
一直
you
到
can still maintain your original
要是这样，是要这样
aspiration forever. That's how you should practice.
不要靠别人，
You need to rely on yourself and not on others.
靠人人
If you rely on a mountain, the mountain may tumble. You rely on a person, the person may run away. You think that you rely on Grandmaster, or you rely on the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha
来皈依了，就保
for
证
the threefold refuge or fourfold refuge.
依你自己本身的心，
But most importantly, relying on those, you can attain Buddhahood, but most importantly, you have to rely on your own
密
mind.
教的修行是依照我们
Like
身
say
体
in
最后
tantric
依照我们身体
practices,
这个在
you
信教
rely on your body to practice, and that doesn't exist in
依
Mahayana
地
Buddhism.
来修，就是我们
Like
的
the earth,
宇宙来修
you rely on the earth, that's for the body and flesh, that's unmoved
这个
or immovability.
依水来修，
And you practice, you rely on the water to practice, that's the light draw practice. You rely on the fire to practice, that's tumo, inner fire, the temperature of the body.
就是
You rely on the wind to practice,
人的四大
that's for the earth, water, fire, and wind, the 4 basic elements. So the wind is the breathing or the qi, the vital energy. The most important practice of the inner practices is qi,
修明
the earth, the inner
这
fire,
个
and
是
light
依照你
drops.
身体来修。
So you rely on your
最重要的
body
在
to
那个
practice. And most importantly is on the mind. Is
你
the
终
mind.
才会终能够有成就。你不依靠
Only this way you would have
去
attainment.
修，
If you don't rely on your own
有心
mind to
就不
practice,
对。
if you have
有
deviant
你就不对
thoughts on your mind,
心
that's
必须要
not
有正面
right.
你修的是正
So
法，
that's
就
why
不会很长。
you have to have the proper or the right thoughts on your mind.
老是
Then
脑袋
you
里
would
面
stay
都
on
是
the
幻想
path.
这就通通都不对，
If you think too
都不
much,
对。
then that's not right. If you think as you like,
看
that's
清楚
not
自
right.
己是心里所想的是善的，心里
You
所想
can
的是恶的
observe yourself
你可以
whether
自己
what
看
you
自己
think
分辨
is good, virtuous,
啊我
or
们是大
not,
人，
or
不
evil.
是小人。
You know, we're all
不是
adults.
小人，都是有智
We
慧。
are not little
你
people.
可以分辨，
So we have some wisdom.
这样子
You
走
can
对
discern what is right
要有分辨
and what is
要
wrong.
分辨这个
So
正
you
跟
need to
邪
have that
这个就
discernment
是戒律。
between the proper and the
出
deviant,
家人有出家
and
的
that
戒
would
律
be called
在
precepts.
家人在家
So
大
there
戒
are
律
precepts
大戒律
for the
这
ordained
个戒律
people
主要就是
and
让
for
你
the
校
laity,
正
the
自己的
bodhisattva
心
precepts.
念你
the precepts are very important, is to keep your mind on track. And if your mind is proper, then your speech and your behavior, your conduct would also be right, and vice versa. That's very simple. If someone asks, are the Dharma that we practice the proper ones? Yes, because good and bad are the foundation of Buddha Dharma. If you create good karma, then you would have merits and virtues. If you create bad karma, then you would have bad retributions. So why some people have to suffer the retributions and some don't? No, it's a sooner or later. Some people have to suffer them sooner, some later, but they will always be there. Like the judgment in hell, there's also light, heavy, fast or slow. It's the same in the human world or in hell. The retributions are all there. There will always be effects for any cause we create. That's why we need to be very careful in our speech, conduct, and our thoughts. We need to always maintain the proper or the right thought in our mind and avoid any bad thoughts or evil thoughts. The teacher wrote to the parents that the female student is talk too much in class, and the father replied, said that, but if you know her mom, then you would not be surprised. So there's a lineage in there. So if the lineage is like this, then you follow it. According to the medical science, you have gene. You have the genes of your mom and dad in your body. And how do you change your genes? Only through Buddha Dharma. Otherwise, it's impossible for you to change your disposition and habitual tendencies, because you inherit them from your parents. That's through the genetics. The ant slept with an elephant for one night, and the next morning the elephant died, and the ant was complaining as he was digging the grave. It's just one night stand, and now I have to dig the grave all the rest of my life. As I have said, if you sleep for a moment, it would become the grief for the lifetime. So a joy of the moment can result in a grief of a lifetime. With the one night stand, you may get pregnant. Wouldn't that be suffering forever? You have to give birth to the child with pain, and then you have to nourish them, educate the baby, and spend lots of money and worry about his study and his livelihood. There would be lots of suffering. There would be grief forever, everlasting grief.
今天讲多久？还有2分钟才50分呢。
So how long have I spoken today?
我说人
50
间
minutes.
人间都是有缺憾。
So they
这
are
个以前白素贞啊，白素贞就是白娘子
imperfections in life.
这个《白蛇传》里面的白素贞，
So
她故意下雨，
the white
然后
snake spirit
把淋那个习仙
in that
习仙
legend
就是
story,
那个
she created
她的男朋
rain
友，
to
她男朋友
let the
然
man,
后
the
白
gentleman,
娘子，这个
the-
就用
her
一把伞
boyfriend
去遮习仙，有没有？
and then
这
she
个就是
used
她
an umbrella
爱情的
to
开始。
for the gentleman, and that was the start
那
of
时候啊，
their romantic love.
装疯卖傻去调戏梁山伯。
And Zhu in Thai is like the
朱
Juliet
这个也
in
是
the Romeo
爱
and
情
Juliet of China,
爱情的开始。这个
and
七仙女啊
pretended to be foolish to the Romeo, and that was the start of the romantic love.
啊，这也是爱情的开始。这个牛郎星跟织女星呢，
And also
牛
Liu
郎
Nang
就是趁
Xin,
织女在
the
洗澡的时候
weaver
拿
and
走她的
the
衣裳。
this is also the characters in the Chinese legends, fairy tales.
伟大爱情的开
The
始，
starts
总
of
归得有
romantic
一个人
love
先耍流氓。
always started with someone that's
总归有一个人先耍流氓，
that's
你
always
看吗？
playing
白素
tricks.
贞先耍流氓，祝英台
So
也是
the
先
white
耍流
snake
氓，
spirit
七仙女
and
也
the
是先耍流氓
Juliet
牛郎
and the
也是
seven
先耍流氓
fairies and Liu Nang, the wanderer, also played tricks on the other part
有时候爱
before
情怎么办
romantic love starts. So what would you say about romantic love?
有时候是这样子。啊，师尊写了2本书了啊，对不对？
Grandmaster wrote
一
two
本就
books.
是对着月亮
One is having a dialogues with the
说话还
moon,
是谈话？哦，对着月亮说话。一
dialogues
本是梦
or
想日
talking,
记，
talking to the moon. And the other
这
one
个
is diaries of the dream.
谁先耍流氓啊？
So who played tricks on who first?
也不是我先耍流氓。
Not me.
我先说明一句，
Now let me clarify.
师尊不是流氓，
No,
原来
I'm not a
是
trickster.
你先耍流氓。
So you're the one who played tricks first on me.
所以总要有一个人先耍流氓啊，但是
So one of them have to play tricks first. Anyway,
所以写2本嘛，当做纪念，当做纪念。
so I wrote 2 books as a
注
memoir.
意哦，
But
师尊写
inside
的
these books,
象情书
the books contain Buddha
里
Dharma.
面其实是
Although they look like romantic novels, actually inside them there are Buddha Dharma.
看热闹，
So if you are in the field, then you would know.
还
Otherwise,
没有到，
you just see the merriment. Is it
啊
2 minutes yet?
52分呐、哦，牌子拿，牌子要拿出来，50分，
It's 55 minutes?
我才知道。
You have to show me the card so that I know it's 55 minutes.
我告诉大家啊，大圆满法是很重要的。
So let me tell you that Great Perfection Dharma is very important.
大圆满法是
And
最
in
近
Tibet,
一直在
Great
流
Perfection
到全
Dharma
世
or
界
Dzogchen is
那么这个法
recently
不但是一
spread
种
widely around the
而且是
world. And this Great
或
Perfection
得到真
Dharma
正的
is secrets
而
among
世
the
尊在大圆
secrets,
满法
and only very few people can attain the fifth instructions of the Great Perfection Dharma. And Grandmaster has transmitted many pith instructions that are extremely important. But in Great Perfection Dharma, there are lots of precepts, and you need to abide by the precepts. And there are precepts in any Dharma practice. If you don't abide by the precepts, all the same, you would fall onto the 3 lower realms. Every Dharma practice would have precepts associated with it. And if you don't abide by the precepts, you would fall onto the 3 lower realms. You need to remember whether the Dharma practice you do is the proper or the right one, or the deviant or the improper one. Then if it's deviant or improper, then you would definitely fall onto the lower realm. We are truly grateful to Grandmaster's precious Dharma teaching. We have